The stuff have been after me for 3 weeks, but I got the moves. Left and right. The more I flatline, the more they send. They've triangulated me on social media. Ever since they found my guide videos, they've been after me. Soviet dictators hate me for my simple life hacks. And they've sent their very best assassins this time. Double T-26s. That's how I know it's serious. But there's one video they haven't seen. Team 6, Team 9, drop your load. That should keep them quiet for a few more weeks. Oh hey there, I didn't see you there. The only thing better than a gun is a big gun. And in this video we'll be going through artillery, shells, and a few more tips for your Germany Day 3 Conquest campaign. Tips that'll make big stuff go hate you, and you looking cool while doing it. The first thing you want to get is a 10.5cm LeFH 18. This is a basic Germany artillery piece that reloads relatively quickly and has a 350 meter range. With artillery you want high reload speed and good enough range so that you can respond to threats on the battlefield. You also want something to tow it around with, given it's over 2 tons. The KFZ transport truck should do the job in the early game, so grab one of those. To tow your big guns, select the vehicle and right-click on the artillery piece, or select the artillery piece and right-click on the vehicle. Just be careful of towing objects in complicated terrain, as accidents are known to happen. Next, you'll want to put a research point into your ammo cart, and if you have points left over, put one into your supply truck. Each supply unit has its own capacity and will resupply munitions when a unit is within their range, which is depicted on screen. You'll generally use supply trucks as they also have towing capacity, which is helpful for your placements in your Conquest campaign. Another tip is the oversupply method. Here we ask the cart to inspect the artillery unit by pressing the X key and move all the artillery shells into the cart. This will re-trigger the supply back into the artillery, meaning we can double or triple the amount of shells in the artillery. Any overstocked ammunitions in your artillery will persist across the days in your Conquest campaign. For your artillery placement, ensure you have a clear line of sight around your piece, as trees and buildings can be in the arc of the shot. As the artillery shoots up and forward, it's very easy to kill your own soldiers while you're targeting enemies off screen. Artillery are ammo hungry, so always try to provide it with a supply crate, wagon or truck to keep it stocked with Dakar. To use your artillery, you can either right-click on the target or aim it manually. I tend to aim artillery manually using the E key to take control, and aim shots carefully for more important targets that may need a lead time given that they're moving. Artillery tend to turn slowly, and sometimes it's better to pack it up and redeploy it manually to turn faster. I have my deploy key bound to my control key and I turn it with my side keys. So how does it do against armor? A general heuristic is that if a shell diameter is bigger than the armor of the unit you're shooting at, it's safe to say you'll cause damage. Big shells against armor refers to something called overmatching, and I'll be touching on that a little bit later. The 10.5 has heat rounds, which are more suitable at close ranges, but it's direct fire only, unlike the indirect fire 105mm HE shells it uses. If you want to attack the ground automatically and repeatedly, you can press F6, or in my case, Shift Q, to attack the position again and again. Just note that you'll burn through ammo pretty quickly over time if you don't pay attention to what your artillery is shooting at. If you're in the market for convenience, for only 2 research points you can get yourself a Wespe, which is basically a mobile version of the 10.5cm LeFH 18 artillery. What is a Wespe? Is it a tank? No. Is it artillery? Yes. Self-propelled to be exact. When a tank loves another tank. No wait, let's go with hybrid. The Germans needed artillery that could keep up with their blitzkrieg tactics during their campaign against the Soviets. They figured out the solution to their problem was to repurpose their Panzer II chassis and mounted the 10.5 cm howitzer on top of it. For Ostfront, it's a great convenience to drive the Wespe around. What about the Soviets? Don't they have a Wespe equivalent? We have Wespe at home, comrade. There's your Wespe. Now we'll talk about groupings. With so many units at play, you want to make groups to help manage. To group units, simply press the Shift number key. Here we group our infantry from 1 to 9. I normally group my riflemen into group 1, my officer into group 4, and my artillery into group 9. When I need them, I simply press the number key. Now, something else that happens in Ostfront is that while you're drag selecting units, the game has an annoying tendency to auto-group your selection into a new unit, concealing the unit cards into the majority. This can be problematic if you've accidentally grouped an officer or medic into a unit and you cannot find them in a desperate situation. The solution is to select groups and press the K key. This will ungroup the unit and reveal the goodies and cards they were hiding. An important part of Ostfront is TPC or direct control. In Ostfront, the player gets a significant accuracy buff by directly controlling units. The game incentivizes players to take control and be a part of the battle. In my playthroughs, you'll notice I take control of tank guns and infantry when stakes are high, as I need that accuracy buff, as a dangerous target demands service. Here I direct control a soldier armed with the MP40 to quickly capture this point. Now for your assault day formation. When you're on the assault with armor, you'll want your strongest tank in the middle, with 2 scout cars or lighter vehicles with good line of sight on the flanks. Trailing on this line will be your infantry to counteract any enemy soldiers that make a play for your armor. Following this, I usually have a supply truck trailing behind, containing all the snacks, coffees and board games for the unit. Think of it as a moving front line that's quick to adapt. At least this will work until day 10 or 12, when the assault missions turn into defenses as the enemy starts to bring in heavy equipment. Speaking of which, when doing assault missions, try to pack as few stages as possible. This will reduce the number of units the enemy will bring into battle. They punch hard if you punch hard. I climbed to the top of Schellsberg Mountain to see what is on the other side, and this is what I found regarding general World War II shell types, nation agnostic. I'll be using the Puck 40 for this illustration. We start with AP and AP capped. Basic armor piercing shells, AP, are chromium nickel molybdenum steel shells that are packed with kinetic energy and launched with propellant charge at high speed to punch holes in armored targets. The aim of the shell game is to preserve kinetic energy along that journey. Simple AP shells when striking an angle suffer from ricochets, shattering or getting stuck. A soft cap was added to AP shells which decreased the coefficient, making a shell more angle tolerant and reduces the chances of the shell failing on impact. However, a cap alone creates drag, and this impacts, you guessed it, impact velocity. The APCR has a lighter casing, but containing a very dense tungsten core. The question is two things to note. It was lighter than your 6 APCR was more of an oh shit button for all the weapons. Don't worry about that. That's what a healthy tank looks like. I understand that not everyone might be as intense about shells as myself. I tend to have a quantitative perspective on things. So here are simple visual guides for shells in the game combined with my anecdotal experience. Shells are color-coded in-game as you see here. Orange is your mainstay. Don't worry too much about the missing cap or C. Really the important distinction is the APCR in green or heat round in purple. Anecdotally, I use APCBC HE variants, although I will use APCR if I want to preserve a tank, or I suddenly go up against heavy armor early game. I rarely use heat rounds other than when playing as infantry, or in the early stages of the war when all I've got is infantry guns, or dedicated heat guns as Finland. If I must destroy something and I have the benefit of range, I'll use artillery to take out the target from a distance. I don't really play the campaign missions, but if you're looking for a sandbox where you can figure out the game at your own leisure, a tutorial of sorts, then try the single-player German campaign map, The Big Prize. You can take your time with the game with no time pressure and no waves. And for a slow-paced defense mission, try Back to Square One. If you want to play infantry only but you hate losing men, try this mod, always Revivable Infantry, to help with the learning curve while you figure out the playstyle. I found this mod when I initially started trying to get to grips with infantry. Given how the AI has a tendency to self-service itself with grenades, vehicles and mortars, I highly recommend the mod Conquest No Friendly Fire. This will relieve some of the frustrations you might have with friendly fire AI. Lastly, if you're playing with the Liberation maps and you're struggling with trees and the performance that they bring, try the Remove 60% tree mod. I've used it to great effect, though I've set it to 30% only. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. To my existing viewers and subscribers, thank you for watching. If you have tips, leave them in the comments below. Things have been a bit busy in real life these days, so these videos have taken a bit longer to make. If you liked the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to look at the tests and guides playlist. Until next time, cheers.